What's up, everybody? I'm Jahi Sundance. Welcome to the Future X Sounds interview series. Today we have a very special, truly gifted, exceptional young musician with us. Justus, if you introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, I'm Justus West from Kansas City, 20 years old. I just like to do music and tinker with sounds and, it's fun. So.
Okay, so Justus is going to be a part of the LA concert for the Future X Sound series. That concert is hosted / curated by Lalah Hathaway. Why don't you tell us, you know Lalah? Are you guys friends?
Yeah.
When did you meet her? How'd y'all get cool?
So what happened was I was working with Terrace Martin.
So that's the same thing the last person who I interviewed said. When I said, how you know Lalah, the first thing that came out their mouth was, so I was with Terrace.
T be putting people on, man. He's introducing everybody to Herbie. He's just going crazy on the introductions.
Okay.
So yeah, I was working with T. And he had the song, and I did vocal production on it, and he had this vision for this all-woman kind of situation. So he's like, yo, I'm gonna get a bunch of chicks to like do vocals and stuff over your vocals, but I want you to kind of do the foundation. So I went in there, did all these harmonies and stuff, and I'm like just chilling one day, and I get a FaceTime call. And I'm like, yo, it's Terrace. You always pick up, because, you
never know.
I pick up, and it's Lalah. She's like, oh my God, you're just so amazing. I'm like, oh my, and to be honest, it had been the worst day ever. I was living in this apartment, and I went out of town, and the apartment complex got bought by a new company.
Okay.
And they didn't have like the records proper, so they thought that either nobody lived in my apartment or I was dead. So I had just gotten back in town. They had slammed my front door down, and like everything was destroyed, and then they put new locks. So I was locked out of my apartment.
That's dope.
All the offices were closed.
Gangster.
So I'm like booking my hotel,
right?
And I'm like, dude, so I wasn't even really gonna pick up. But then I picked up, and it was Lalah, and my day was made at that point. And so, of course, social media and all that stuff helps to like keep cool relationships, those comments and stuff. And, we've talked a few times. And I actually met her in person the first time when I was like 13 or 14, though. I went to one of her shows. And at the time, her guitar player was Jairus Mosey.
I know Jairus.
Yeah, he's just
J-Mo.
Yep, J-Mo. J-Mo the Great. So I went to see him, and then I had gotten to meet her, but that was like way. And
did you know him when you were 13 or whatever?
Nah, so somebody else.
Because he was probably 20 when you saw him when you were 13.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it was like, it was one of them things where somebody else I knew in Kansas City was playing bass for her, Tim Bailey.
Okay.
And Tim was like, yo, you should come through. This dude on guitar, like, he's legendary. You gotta hear him. And then I went and saw Tim, met J-Mo, not realizing that even all these years later, I would be good friends with J-Mo too. Like, it was just, because, Kansas City, not much happens.
The thing about Kansas City is so much happened.
See? And that's what people don't realize.
In Kansas City, that it can be a little misleading. Like, music got invented in Kansas City.
Dude, Quincy Jones told me that swing jazz originated in Kansas City.
This is what I'm saying.
And I had heard it a bunch, but then to ask Quincy, he's like, you're from Kansas City? I was like, yeah. And he was like, dude, swing jazz and Charlie Parker. And he starts going down the list of all this amazing stuff that was coming out of Kansas City.
So there's a legacy there, but it's like a lot of the other cities in the Midwest, it's fallen on some depression, economic depression. It's just rough now.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I think the biggest thing with Kansas City is economically is doing great. I think it's just been a lot of cultural washing.
Yeah.
It's like a really it's a really stale city now. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to do things to bring culture to Kansas City.
Sure.
But that's really like the resources there. There's plenty of rich people. You have Strange Music and Tech Nine. You have,
and there's big corporations headed there.
Huge corporations. I mean, I think it was Cerner or one of them.
Or some shit. What is it?
Dude, a whole bunch.
It's something really Target. It's something really strange.
I know Sprint. Sprint is in Kansas City.
Strange that you don't think the headquarters in Kansas City is
barbecue.
Right in Kansas City.
It's the home of barbecue. You know
So
what I'm saying?
you grew up in Kansas City, but you were homeschooled.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me about that. Your parents are musicians, or?
So yeah, my mom is a singer-songwriter and an artist.
Okay.
She actually just recently got signed to Capital Christian.
What's
so her name's Charmel Cofield.
So
the
you can
album,
check that out.
Yeah, it's self-titled
Go get
album.
that gospel.
So produced by me. We actually hit number 3 in sales on Billboard, number 6.
You produced your mom.
Yes.
I also have produced my parent. I produced my dad's records.
There we go.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
So, of course, when I was younger, she was like in the height of her songwriting part of her career.
Okay.
So she had done Beyonce and done Kelly Rowland and films and a whole bunch of stuff. And so the thing was, I was a very particular and special child.
Okay.
I didn't like, so she would buy me Tim's. We lived in New York.
Okay.
So, you know, Tim's, that was the...
Yeah, you had to have some Tim's.
So she bought me my baby Tim's, and I was so particular. If even the smallest stain got on them, I would refuse to wear them again.
So you were a little OCD?
Yeah, extremely OCD.
But
it allowed to where, like, most kids are like, I want to have kid friends. I want to go outside. I didn't want to do none of that. I didn't care about kids my age.
Kid friends were too dirty.
Yeah, it was everything's too dirty. It's too much happening.
Yeah.
Y'all want to take my toy? Like,
no,
I'm not with it.
Bring your own toys, and I'll bring mine, and we sit across from each other.
Exactly.
And everybody can play with their own toys.
And I was a Hot Wheels collector at the wee age of 4 or 5. I was already collecting.
If you notice the emphasis with which he said collector.
Yes.
He takes it serious.
Very seriously. I had like 1,000 of them. Like, it was crazy. And then my baby cousins, every time they would come over, when we ended up moving back to Kansas City, they would always steal them, and I would be so mad.
So are you collecting guitars now, like the other guitar players?
No, I actually am anti-guitar hoarding. I hate it. So
no Brian Setzer for you.
I'm freaking I'm super particular with my guitars. And so the thing is, every guitar has such a different personality. The problem with having a bunch is that you never get used to one. It's like if you have like 40 girlfriends, you're just always going to be confusing.
But you only have one.
I just got one.
So you're all set.
And yeah, so shout out Tosin Abasi Guitars.
So that's how I also wanted to talk about that for a second. Tell me about the first time you saw Tosin, which was hopefully before you met him. Tell me about the first time you saw him. What were you, like 16, 15?
Dog, that was NAMM 2017, because that was a year before I moved to LA.
So it's just 2 years ago, first time you saw him.
I freaking came to LA with a homie of mine named Ryan Lee.
But had you listened to him before?
I've been on the Animals as Leaders for like years. I had been on them. My pastor actually put me on the Animals as Leaders. Yeah,
what
my pastor.
church is this?
Dog.
First of all, Animals as Leaders, if you're watching this, you don't know, you can
metal.
open another window on your browser and open Animals as Leaders and just listen to what's happening. It's very heavy rock group. Right?
Yeah.
Very heavy.
Instrumental math metal.
Yeah, kind of math rock, but not corny.
It's
Some
not
of that math
corny,
rock corny though.
Nah, this is like far from corny. It's a black dude, a Mexican dude, and a white dude. Sounds like a start of a really great
United
joke.
Nations of rap.
Yeah. And 2 8-string guitar players and a very crazy drummer. Matt Gardska is just like a walking metronome.
So you met Tosin and...
So yeah, I like see Mike League with his millions of basses. And then, then Tosin comes walking. I'm like, oh my God, that's Tosin. So he goes, because we're still waiting on the food at this point.
Right.
So I'm like, dang, am I about to miss meeting Tosin? So we're like walking, and then, of course, with all the foot traffic, we end up running into him at one of the lights. And I'm like, yo, I am such a huge fan. He's like, yeah, you're Justus West. Like, you're a tight guitar player, man.
Did you just fall over?
Dog, I was like,
was it like...
Yeah. So it's funny, like, after that, like, didn't ever talk to him again until this past NAMM. And I was like,
I saw you playing his guitar on the internet.
And I was like, yo, man, it's so good to see you again, whatever. He's like, yeah, I just started a guitar brand. You should check it out. And sat down and played the guitars, loved them, and kind of just made a transition out of where I was, and that's that. So, he's the homie, and we're working on getting me a model together and getting some different stuff in the works, but they're like They're doing the good work of getting the company off the ground.
He's about to have his own guitar, just so you can understand what they're gonna make me a model and get my stuff going. He's gonna have his own guitar. That's what's happening.
Yes.
So, 20 years old, got your own guitar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know.
Playing with all the people. Who are some people who are alive who you want to play with that you haven't played with?
Ooh, that are alive?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
Alive.
I don't like a lot of people.
Yeah. You don't have to say the people you don't want to play with.
That would be funny. Like, actually, I'd rather say all of you people don't call me.
Yeah, I'll give you the list of people who shouldn't call me because I'm not showing up.
Yeah. One dude that I really, really, really want to play, work, freaking hang out with, learn from, that I'm totally obsessed with this guy because he's like the blueprint of who I want to be creatively, Moses Sumney.
Really?
Dog,
You haven't met Moses?
Bro, and everybody I know, like even meeting when I was with Ty Dolla, meeting Serpent with Feet and Serpents, you know, like they're all like this circle of creative geniuses. I'm just new to the circle. And Moses is like, he's like musical Batman. Like he's just like in Paris, and then he's here, and then he's like Dolce & Gabbana model, and then he's doing Fire Records again. And it's just, you know, and then even my homie Peter Lee Johnson plays violin for him. And I like had Peter play on my EP, and I was like, dude, I just love Moses Sumney. He was like, yeah, it's my homie. And I was like, how do you just casually just like, dude, he's like, I just got off tour with him. I was like, nobody's plugged me.
Who else?
Coldplay.
Okay.
I gotta do a Coldplay gig, man.
All right.
I need a guitar solo with Kings of Leon.
We could probably hook that one up, the Kings of Leon one.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was doing a gig with Vince Gill in Nashville, and I met their mom.
Right.
And their mom, she was like, you know, just take it from me, I have very talented sons that you might know. And I was like, word, okay, because I'm in Nashville, and it's always
like, whatever. Everybody got talented kids in Nashville.
And but she didn't say anything. So then this, like, I guess their cousin, like her nephew,
whispered to you, you know
he was like, he was like, yo, bro, like you're amazing, and you like. But they always ended their statements with, you know, we know greatness. I'm related to Kings of Leon. And what's funny is I was not mad. I was like that. Bro, for real? It was like, you do know greatness.
They're all cool as shit too.
Yeah.
The dudes themselves are really cool. They're cool dudes.
Hey.
So Kings of Leon. Who else?
I'm just going through who I listen to on a day-to-day basis. I crossed a lot of people off the list already.
Just a wish list. Anybody from I want to ask you that just on a side note. Any rappers
that I want to do
that you want to make a record with or do a show with?
Well, I'm already kind of, Ty was like one of my top.
Ty was it.
And now like that's in the works already.
The thing about him is that his musicality is a secret.
Yep, and that's
it's a big fucking secret.
Now the next album.
Are you changing it?
Yeah, bro, I'm all over his next record.
His musicality is a secret, right? I've been making records with Ty since.
But people don't. His next album
since 2006. 2007.
The thing is, listening back to some of the old records, like he has always been hinting at the fact that there is another. Like at first I was like, no, you know, he's been in rap mode. Now people are about to find out. And then when I really started like listening back, I'm like, okay, this joint with Babyface is like not just like a rap. You know what I'm saying? Or
the joint with Babyface was special, but a lot of people didn't really get to it as a record. I loved it. Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about real quick. Why don't you tell us about the Future X Sounds concert and what you're gonna bring to that concert? Is it just you with a looper? Are you Ed Sheeran? Ed Sheeran in it?
Shout out to Ed Sheeran for
what do you do on stage? What's the show like?
So I have a few different versions of myself in live performance mode because I've been like etch-a-sketching. Of what it's supposed to look like, and I found a happy medium in having a bass player and my laptop. And I have some interesting tools that I normally would use as a producer that I'm going to start implementing more in a live show. because, I mean, especially using a program like Ableton, there's a lot of capabilities on the spot, even just as a creative, where because I'm always one of those, I think playing for people for so long and seeing so much stuff go wrong and nobody has a plan B, but not because they don't have a plan B, but because they're not creative.
Oops. That means I have to go in 5 minutes to do the meter on my car.
Oh, yeah, that was an important one to keep on.
So.
Okay. So it's one of those things where I see a lot of artists and a lot of stuff goes wrong. Like I'll be playing for them and like something will go terribly wrong in a performance or something, and nobody has a plan B because nobody's creative. Like they make the show, they perform the show. For me, I like to be open to the room. I like to be open to the fact that something could break, that the sound could go out, so then at that point, you're prepared to do anything.
So you're talking a little more jazz.
It's not even...
Not in terms of the music itself, but in terms of the attitude of the show.
Yeah,
this is a jazz approach.
People don't realize that approaching pop and R&B music with a jazz approach.
It's a jazz mind state, not you're playing jazz on your guitar.
Exactly.
But the mind state is, because in a jazz show, you could walk on the bench and you look out, you go, we're playing a different tune. First tune is going to be this, and we're switching the key. It's going to be this, and we're switching the tempo. It's going to be that. And then you can start the tune, and everybody's on the same page.
Exactly.
You can't do that at a Janet Jackson show.
Yeah, very choreographed.
And for good reason. You can't do it at a Beyonce show. For good reason. Because their audience also requires something different.
Yep.
And so you're looking to bring something.
What I want to bring back to live performances as an artist is the whimsical nature of going to see somebody in concert. Yeah. And realize, especially in today's age of social media, I can go on YouTube right now and I can look up any show from OTR, and that's or even the special one where she switched the song out. That's also on YouTube. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, what you won't catch is the Justus West clip of me playing the same guitar solo or the same this or the same that. And I actually want to keep it that way because, again, in the age of social media, everything can be carbon copied. It can be replicated. It can be
seen.
It can be seen. Yeah, it can be found.
It's not unique.
Nothing is like, this is not the 90s where, like, you missed it or... It's just not like that.
Yeah, you missed it. You missed it forever.
Even like the video clip of Prince, James Brown, and Michael Jackson. Like now we can watch that, but after that happened, people could only really hear about it. Like they couldn't go online and like see it. You know what I'm saying? Even though there was video footage.
There was video. You would have to go to Japan to like buy it, or to like Kim's Video in New York.
Like there wasn't a way to just like. Dang, that was a crazy piece in history. I'm gonna watch it 20 years later. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You have to go through the bootleg process of being a real bootleg guy.
So that's kind of what I want to bring back. So part of it is almost hiding stuff from myself. Okay. Musically is just kind of like, they're my songs. I wrote them and produced them, so I'm not gonna forget them. So sometimes leaving like a little space of like, weirdness is almost necessary. Because, like, my mess-ups can be, like,
a road to
something tight. Clicking and starting the wrong song. It's just something stupid that I would always do because I do that sometimes. Or just realizing, like, sometimes the song needs to, like, the biggest and best example of this is doing, especially club venues where people are very talkative and loud. And, like, a lot of artists get very, very... handicapped by that because they came to do their set and they can't adjust to the fact that you might have a rowdy crowd and they might not be a good crowd. Now in my case, I can just turn my amp up really, really loud. Right. And do something like a very fast, loud opening solo or something, a cappella guitar solo, and then I can get everybody's attention and then business can go on as normal.
But you've
also like little...
But you've been, all these lessons, right? These lessons you have since... Well, you've been playing as a professional guitar player since you were 8?
I started playing when I was 8. I did my first professional gig at 10.
10. So at 10, you became a professional, and that was 10 years ago. That's half your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Half your life, no, definitely.
Yeah.
So half of your life, you've been a professional guitar player.
Yeah.
And all these lessons coming through and all these different things, I want you to talk for a second about who your biggest, before I asked you who you wanted to work with, who are your biggest influences as a musician?
As a musician,
This can be alive or dead. Doesn't, yeah.
I feel like I pull from a lot of different areas, and so like
give it to him.
We go from like John Mayer to Vince Gill, to the Bobby Womack's, to Bobby McFerrin, to Coldplay.
Taylor's new album is dope, by the way. To Coldplay, keep going.
Even Christian rock bands like Secret in a Whisper and Anne Berlin and like all these bands that people, these are like, yeah, man, you know.
Okay.
Of course, the obvious, like Prince, and I think the biggest thing growing up was I almost stayed away from the big ticket names because everybody, like, I always felt like
big
everybody.
Ticket names of guitar or the big ticket names
like,
of pop music?
I didn't want to.
So no Jimmy?
No. I never listened to Jimmy growing up because my idea was everybody, like, if everybody's saying, listen to Jimmy and do this, I think I was just trying to be a rebellious child.
So who are the big ticket names are who? Like they're Jimmy, Clapton, Keith Richards,
Prince,
Prince.
What's another big ticket guitarist?
Even
like Steve Vai.
Yeah,
and like,
Steve Vai and
like my favorite guitarist in that arena, Greg Howe.
Okay.
See, and people sleep on Greg Howe, especially as an African American metal guitarist. Like there were no other black guitarists legatoing, but adding funk and dominant modes into the, like, nobody was doing that. And Dennis Chambers on kit, playing rock and metal music, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and then him and Victor Wooten and the, like, come on, it's just crazy. like that's the kind of stuff for me that was like the moments. Yeah, it was like, okay, like obviously, look, if this record is the biggest song in the world, Michael Jackson has some biggest songs in the world, Prince did it, they all, like, obviously those are great. So it's like, they're gonna be there. And, you know, my mom always used to say, like, elements of a hit song always have other elements of other hit songs in them. And it's a proven science.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. So I just wanted to listen to the weird stuff. Because that was the stuff you're not going to find everywhere.
So what you working on? What's next? You got a record out. Look into the camera and tell people what's going on.
All right. So we got the first EP, Control, is out now on iTunes.
Spotify, everything.
Spotify, everything. It's everywhere. Working on a second possible album, maybe an EP. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which. But right now I'm in content generating mode. So what's next for me, I'm actually going on tour with Ty Dolla $ign. And we're going to go on the road and we're doing like this whole studio bus thing and doing video footage, and we're going to do like an album. And it's
you and him?
It's going to be tight. So it'll be like in correlation of me working on my next record and then me working on stuff with him, and like he's on some, because he plays bass, like he's on some instrumental vibes. And
musician family, just like
you. So even looking at bands like Crew and Band and stuff, like we want to just like get creatively like in the zone while also being on the road playing to 50,000 people every night. So that's going to be cool. So that's like the next 2 or 3 months, and then around my birthday, November 4th, you also put that in your calendar because it's necessary.
How do you do it?
Yeah.
Scorpios are tough.
You know.
You guys are so tough.
Then that's when we'll be looking towards new music. I might drop a couple filler songs out here and there just to... I'm always working. But you're touring the
fall with Ty, and then you're looking at November.
Winter time is when I want to start getting the ball rolling on good content, good video content, because I want to focus more, not necessarily on the music, because the music is speaking.
Go ahead and say it. It's easy.
I want to... I said speaking. I play the songs for people. They have emotional responses. I've had people...
It's the part you have to work the least hard at. You spent 10 years, 12 years already working hard at it. You didn't spend 12 years making videos for YouTube and for Instagram. You spent 10 years, 12 years playing the guitar. So that's why it's easy. I didn't mean to clown. I just mean it to say, like, if you put your time in the bank already there.
Yep.
And so now you're trying to focus on...
I want to be able to communicate with people visually and get across like my heart as a person. I feel like that's the most important part in this stage. Yeah. And this stage for me, putting out like these musical monstrosities that I produced and wrote myself, somebody very rich and powerful and successful told me, they was like, why in the world should they care that you're really talented? And I was like, well, because, it's a great question. Like, why in the world should people care that I play multiple instruments and could produce my own records and mix them? Like, what does that do for other people? That's a bunch of me, like selfish myself. This is like all stuff I can do by myself and oh, yay. But like, what does that do for other people? How does that actually help?
Your life changes when you say, how can I be of service? That's
exactly.
when your life changes.
So that's what the content is like. The transparency is going to come from more of a place of communicating that super talented in this area, not talented in this area, making mistakes here. I have problems with my family, problems with my girlfriend, problems with my, like, it's like stuff happens. And maybe putting that stuff out there.
Vulnerability.
And connecting that with the creation process.
Yeah,
you know what
absolutely.
I'm saying? Like, I had to make this song today, but this was also happening while I was making the song and we're arguing, but I'm like, the camera's always rolling.
Sure.
So I'm basically starting my own reality series.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So Future X Sounds is really interesting because everywhere they go, each concert is curated by an artist who is from that city.
Yeah.
And so just talk a little bit about that and being a part of that and how you feel about it.
I think it's amazing. So I'm not an LA native, but I think one thing that is very important is even in asking Lalah reaching out to me, it's about understanding the climate and the tapestry of the city and not just being like a bunch of homie shout outs, you know what I'm saying? But really, I appreciated it because it was like, now it feels like even though I'm not from this city and this is not my home, it's still like you're making a mark. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely appreciate that because even when I've seen like the other artist lineups and who they're picking and stuff, everybody's going for, it's not even the underdog. It's just like people who are really trying to make it happen.
It's people who deserve the light.
I will say that. Yeah. So I think that's a really cool, it's a really cool feature, if you would say, just because it's, first off, especially when most of these kind of events happen, they don't really ask the right people about curating stuff.
List
and they just
some
like,
of those people.
Oh,
No, I'm just
gosh.
like...
They're just like, you know what, let's just go to this bar and then whoever's playing in here, they must be great.
Yeah.
So we'll just, we'll have them perform for all these thousands of people and there we go. But even asking a Lalah, especially given her musical pedigree, is kind of unmatched.
Right.
So, I think that's really amazing. I think that's really, really awesome. And I'm very happy to be a part of it and very happy to kind of be in the mix and connected to it all. So.
All right, word.